hear me, but I made it across. It's really bad here, Verlaine. I think there's something here.
So tell us about the pre-order bonuses.
This is utterly a dream come true for us. We had this idea right at the start that if we created the Nostromo, the original ship from Alien, what would it be like to experience that and go through that ship and then confront our alien. And then we had the idea, well, what if we could get the original cast to come and return and reprise their roles, back on the Nostromo? That would be amazing. And it's just an incredible opportunity to work with those guys and put them back on that ship, 35 years later, and especially Sigourney Weaver reprising her role for the first time in video games as Ellen Ripley is a really, really significant thing. Like I said, a dream come true, and it's an amazing piece of bonus content. So if you pre-order the game, you get this amazing mission in which you take on the role of one of the crew members and try and survive against our alien.
Yes. The original cast is separate from the actual content of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main game is its own story. It takes place 15 years after the events of the first film, so 15 years after the Nostromo disappears. You play as Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, trying to find answers as to her mother's disappearance. And when Yutani believes someone's found the black box flight recorder of the Nostromo, she volunteers to be part of a really small crew to go and retrieve it. So the bonus content is very much bonus content. It's completely separate from the main game, but it also is kind of connected as well because it kind of taps into the events of that first film.
A retrieval mission into a space station kind of sounds a lot like Dead Space. Dead Space. How do you distinguish yourself from what they have done for the sci-fi horror genre?
Well, we're big fans of Dead Space, but our game is a completely different, takes a completely different approach. So in both look and feel, we're tapping into that original lo-fi sci-fi 70s aesthetic. It's this kind of used future. It's a world away from holograms and touchscreens. This is kind of clunky, chunky push-button technology. It's a really cool aesthetic, but it's also saying that technology isn't the answer. You're going to have to use your instincts and your wits, and also our approach to our main character, our star of the show, the alien. Isn't scripted or using any prescribed paths. It's completely dynamic and reactive, and it's really, that's what's driving its behaviour and it reacting to what the player does, and that means every single encounter is kind of like a live encounter, and no two playthroughs are the same.
That's what I'm curious about because, for example, Dead Space is mostly scripted horror. How do you maintain dramatic structure and tension when the alien just roams about the ship?
Well, I think that's horror is in large part about the unknown, about not knowing what's around the corner, and so our unpredictable alien means that you're always second guessing. You always have that tension and anticipation as to what's going to happen next because you can't be 100% certain. So moment to moment, it's a really high tension, high pressure situation, which actually mimics Ellen Ripley's journey in the first film, where she's having to make the right decisions under enormous pressure, and we're kind of asking the player to do the same thing.
Is there a logical progression to the, objectives?
Yes, I mean, it's very much a single-player game, so there's a strong story and a structure that pulls you through, but there's also a really small inhabitants on the station of other human survivors. Now, they're in the same situation as you, they're desperate to survive, but they're also using the same core AI as the alien. They're using their senses, and so they can be unpredictable as well. You can't be sure, you have to be really cautious, and things can escalate really, really rapidly and get out of control. So I've always been a massive fan of the first film, and I think games based in that franchise previously had really looked at the James Cameron experience, Marines and pulse rifles and aliens, and that's totally cool. But I really wanted to create an experience that really tapped back into that original haunted house in space. To really give you the sensation of being back, at the origins of the franchise, and take a completely different approach where just one alien could be really meaningful to the player, and not just a kind of trigger pull away from the answer.
By taking away any meaningful technology, really being is bare bones the correct term?
So mean, this is a game about survival and not about killing. So it's about being underpowered and underprepared, and just moment to moment making decisions that you know the best guess decisions as to how to survive.
So final question: how do you move about the ship?
So you move really intuitively. You can navigate your way through the ship. You can go through the kind of vent system, though that is the kind of realm of the alien. You can hide. Hide under things, hide inside things, hide behind things. You know, you're always trying to make sure that the alien can't see you. You're trying to break the line of sight. Make sure you can't be heard. You know, it's a really important thing. So you know, we give you a cool flashlight, which is great because it illuminates your path, but also that acts as a massive beacon to the alien. So you have to use it really carefully.